Soirena mea kosaite pakasani mikai sisi. Welcome. Sairo toka saira takasarenina namakai kesitasi. Welcome, dear sister. Welcome, dear brother. Soire tai kusutina makai kesitasi. In today's episode and transmission, we're going to talk a little bit about the death process in spiritual awakening, which is super normal and it goes in different stages, right? And it's coming through so strongly because I'm in this death process myself, that it feels huge. It feels really huge, but it's also, I know it's related to the massive upgrade I had within the past month, when I was in Peru holding space and just being, and also coming back home and holding space again and not really having so much in between to be able to integrate. And so I knew it was going to happen. And I was prepared for it, of course, like we all are when we're going through this. But I didn't know this is how it was going to play out. So I'm here sharing this because I'm not the only one that goes through these processes. You go through those processes yourself, whether you feel them intensely or not. And so this is coming more from my heart space than any other messages that will come through for the collective. And it's also because I love you so much that it's very important for me to let you know that you're not alone in this process. That surely I've been in this journey for a few years, I mean, the Kundalini awakening happened in 2016, and prior to that, I was already in practicing yoga, teaching yoga, energy work, and these things, yeah. But I began to dedicate my life fully to myself and to be of service in 2016. It was a deep commitment of myself. And actually, at the end of 2015, when I felt like what I'm meant to do is to hold space through whatever it was, I didn't know the word awakening happened. So let's open up the space. I invite you to get comfy, whether you are laying down or sitting or standing, dancing, whatever comfortable means to you. I invite you to close your eyes if that feels safe for you. Taking a deep inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth, let it go. And again, deep inhale. And full exhale. Going back to your normal breathing. Giving yourself permission to feel, to be open to what is meant for you. What you're meant to hear, they will activate something in your system for growth, for more unconditional love, for more self-awareness, for more surrender. But as we breathe into the heart space, we know that your breath is my breath. My breath is your breath. And the breath of life is through all of us. It's all of us. Whenever you're ready, beginning to invite gentle movements on the fingers and the toes. Maybe moving the shoulders around, the neck around. And on your own time, opening up the eyes, or you can keep them closed still. Thank you. I find the death process the most fascinating part or one of the most fascinating parts of spiritual awakening, because the other one is cracking. And you might have known about this if you have been following my journey, listening to the podcast. If you are new, welcome. Such a pleasure to have you here in this wonderful community of love and expansion. And let me tell you why. It's a beautiful way of being self-aware, right? Aware of when things pop up out of nowhere that are ready to be seen and to be loved and accepted and shifted in their own way. Yet, it could be one of the most challenging things in the journey, you know? And I go through that myself, like I was sharing at the very beginning. I'm going through a massive upgrade, a massive death process. And it's not something that it just like happens and like, cool, it's done. It's like it goes into steps and stages and going really deep and very gentle and then very raw and and it's just like all over the place. And then what do we get to do with all of that? What do we get to do with all of that? What do you get to do with all of that? And let me share about my journey. I have a way to surrender. That doesn't mean that at times surrendering is not easy, right? That doesn't mean that I don't feel the pain. I know that a lot of people see me like, whoa, you got it all, and it's like, I mean, I got myself, I know myself. I know my energies. I know what they're saying, and I know when they need to be pushed, and I know when they need like a break, and I just know. I've sat with myself for years, and I dedicated years to sit with myself. This is how you get to know yourself and your energies and understand them. But again, that doesn't mean that I don't feel the things. I feel the things just as much as you do, right? In my own way, like you have your own way of feeling, right? That doesn't mean that you feel it more than me or that I feel it more than you. We just feel, period, right? And your degree of feeling it might change throughout this whole experience, right? Of awakening. And it may be, it's been very intense from the very beginning and prior of you knowing that you are going through spiritual awakening like it was my experience, right? But trust me, I feel very deeply. But I also know, these moments of sadness, these moments of anger, of frustration, of deep pain, like deep emotional pain, or physical pain that comes up as things are moving, they're not going to last forever. And I know that they always come through when I'm so close to passing this new threshold of growth, right? And I know that. I know that from experience. I know that because I see it. I know that because I feel it. Yeah. But again, there's moments in the journey where the waves go so deep down in the shadows, and they're so high up as well, right? So I know when I'm going so deep in my shadows, it means that I'm about to fly like I haven't flown before. And this is where I gave myself the grace, yeah? And the grace to know and to say to myself, hey, it's okay for you to be like, fuck this. It's okay for you to be like, I don't want to feel this, but I'm in it. It's okay to question. It's okay to be a human in this experience because I am being a human, right? It's okay to question these things and having perhaps wanting different things, whatever it is, yeah? It's okay. It's okay. I'm a human. That part is also part of me. And that part gets to be human? It gets to be like, why the fuck do I get to feel this? It really gets to be like that. And then also get to be like a little child, like, mom holds me. I don't know what to do. I just want to cry. Hold me, And it also gets to be like a teenager that wants to be rebellious, you know, and being angry at whatever it is that happened during the teenage years or right in that in between space from being a child to a teenager, right? Like that's okay. That's those are all parts of me. And they get to be that if they want to be that. And I get to choose if I let them be that, right? I could absolutely choose to be like, hey, listen, we're going through this shift, so get over it, literally get over it and be with it, right? Which is a way, sure, you can grow, but from experience, because in a way, not speaking that way, but in a way, I've done that, I've gone like, I mean, like, we're going in, we're doing this, we're releasing it, whatever release it is, or whatever you call it release, But through my journey, I've realized that like these parts of me are alive and they're so sensitive. Of course, the child is gonna want her mother, you know? Or like maybe at times her father or her brother or her best friend or her pet. And of course, a teenager is gonna be so rebellious and will want to like scream at her dad or her mom or the world. Of course, of course. And of course, the adult self will have her doubts of like, she could have done better, of like, whatever. Of course. So if I get to hold that space, if I get to hold that space for the child, the teenager, the young adult, the adult, like the baby, the toddler, in the ways that they need it, then this death process is way more gentle. And then I don't get to like grasp into things and like not shift as easier and as quickly as I could, you know? And so I listen and I'm with them and I'm them. So I give myself permission, even though I know, okay, well, this is normal and this is happening because I'm about to, you know? It's happening, and I know that. I see it, I feel it. I've been through things like this multiple times, like excessive times. So I know, I just know. Okay, yes, part of the process. But how they get to process these things are completely different than this person right now, than the person that is speaking to you, right? The person that has gone through all those experiences to be able to hold space for every part of herself. So the child self is not going to have the total awareness that I have right now because she's being a child. She's being a child. And she wants to cuddle, and she wants her stuffy, and she wants her pets, and she wants her mom and her dad in cartoons, and she wants to be held. She just knows at this moment she's feeling shitty, and she has no words to put shitty into that. She has no idea in a way what's happening. She just wants to be held. And then she's just like, trying to find her words, trying herself to understand what this process is. And that's okay. She has somewhat of awareness that something is happening, but she's not even grasping like the vocabulary because she's a child, right? And the teenager, because she's a teenager with her hormones and with all these changes in her body and in her heart and her mental stability and emotional stability, she's just like, fuck this shit. Like, why do I get to feel these things? And like, why does X do this and X do that? And why do I get to do that? And why am I feeling this? And why are you okay? And you're laughing and running around. Why am I here in the shithole? Right? She gets to be pissed. And I'm okay with that. Like, yes, be pissed. Like, I'm here. I hear you, girl. I hear you. I know, I've been through that too. This whole process you're going through, yes, I lived through that, but you're in it. You are so in it. So I'm here and I listen. Let me listen to you. What else you got to say, right? What are other pent-up emotions? They're trying to find words, even if you have no idea how to put that into words and you want to throw it at somebody else. Like, this is the space, let me hear it. So you don't put your emotional poison in somebody else, right? So it's safe between you and me because I'm you and I got you. I got you, right? So she gets to do that. She gets to throw fits if she wants to throw fits. And she gets to scream and whatever else she wants. Yeah. And then there is like the young adult that is so freaking confused. Like, did I just become an adult? What does that even mean? I still like feel like a teenager, and now I have to figure out this whole life out, and I feel so freaking confused. And what are this all these emotions that just I want to be sad and cry around, and at the same time I don't. I'm like, I need to go to work, and I need to do this, and I have this partner, and I have this house. It's just like, what the fuck? This is so much, you know? Yeah, yes to everything that you just said, and I'm here with you too, you know? Like, what else is happening in your inner world if you're aware of that, if you can put words to that, you know? And there's the other like adult self that is it maybe hasn't really figured it out, but it's still like, what the fuck? This is still intense, you know? This intensity ever die? This intensity ever chill out and lets me breathe a little, you know? And still that anger of the teenager has moved from the teenager to the young adult to the adult, and the adult is like, "Ah, I just want to let this out. Do I get to let this out? Do I turn that against me or against somebody else? Or like, how, what is the way of doing these things, you know? Like, yes, right? Because at this moment every single part of me is fucking confused. And that's okay. Like the human parts, right, are confused and are just like, this is really intense. One just wants to curl up in the ball. The other one just wants to scream at dad or mom. You know, like the other one is just like, what the fuck is going on? And the other one's like, oh my gosh, I guess I have to sit with this, but I don't really want to sit with this. And it's just like, what is this anyway? You know? So it's okay. It's okay to be in that. While the more quote unquote spiritual self is like, yes to that, yes to that, yes to that, yes to that. Yep. Yep. Yeah, absolutely. I've been there. And so I'm just here. And let me tell you that everything that you said is valid. Everything that you said is valid. What you said is valid too. Definitely what you said is valid. And I'm here, you know, and I'm just here to listen. Like if you need anything else, you know, if you need any support, ask for the support, right? I'm here. And nothing that you said I will take personally because I know, right, that all of this is what it takes to grow, to pass this threshold and take flight. All this, right? Every single part, right? Every single part, including myself that is witnessing this whole deal, right? But how do I get to grow if I tell maybe just one of them, shut up and just deal with that? I mean, do you even remember when somebody told you that? In whatever age you were in, right? Whatever age you had, like like shut up and deal with it, you know? Like first of all, somebody will tell me that back in the day, I'll be so pissed. I'm like, what do you mean shut up and deal with it? Like I'm dealing with it. Don't you see this? Like, I am absolutely dealing with this. I am feeling these things. I'm frustrated. I'm annoyed. I have no idea what's going on. It's so dark, yet there's so much light. Like, I am dealing with it. So, like, how dare you tell me shut up and deal with it? Like, don't you think that's what I'm doing? What do you think I should be doing? You know? And it's just like it becomes this massive tension that is completely unnecessary, that at times as humans we're so good at it, is completely unnecessary because the way that you need your space to be held right now might be completely different than the child self, right? Or the teenager. Maybe the teenager just needs to go like, I don't know, play volleyball, play basketball, like dance her ass off, or like, have a fake ID and go to clubbing. Like I totally did that, So it's like, hey, they all have their ways and you have your way now. So like you telling them shut up and deal with it, or like it's not gonna help, right? So I let every single part of me process the way that they need to process, and ask them the right questions, right? What do you need right now from me? How many times were you asked as a kid, or maybe still nowadays, right? As a teenager, young adult, like, how are you? Okay, I mean, uh, I am not certain why people ask this and they just don't really want to listen, Because when I ask you, how are you doing? I mean, I pick up on something and I want to know. Like, I asked it because I want to know. If you are ready to tell me, sure, I'll listen. If that takes 30 minutes to an hour or even more, I asked. I asked because I'm interested, and because I knew that you needed the space to be held, right? I don't ask these things for you to just be like, I'm okay. Yeah, I'm fine. Yeah, cool. It's like, how many times do we answer that? Like, are you really cool? Are you really okay? And trust me, I've done that before. Like when I don't want to talk about it, right? But in that moment, it's probably better to be like, I feel shitty right now, but I don't want to talk about it. you know? And that's okay. Like I honor that honesty, right? That true honesty. And so like in a lot of times like it puts the other person in the spotlight, right? It's like, or in the spot, like, oh shit, I mean, I'm feeling crappy right now, but I don't want to get into it. And does this person want to hear me out? So I'm just gonna say I'm okay. And then like the whole fucking world does that, and we don't really express what's happening, right? But if we ask a different question, maybe it's not the right question per se, but it's a different question. What do you need right now? What do you need right now? Doesn't that change the whole energies? If I had been asked as a kid, what do you need right now from me? Like, probably the first time it would have shocked me. Be like, oh, you're actually asking me what I need, rather than pretending that you know what I need and doing that or making me do that, you know? So, okay, I guess what I need right now, I want some hot chocolate. Yeah, I want some hot chocolate. Listen, my inner child knows cacao, right? Yeah, some hot chocolate, some blueberry pancakes. I want to watch a cartoon and I want to be in bed with my puppy and cuddle. Period. Simple, right? Because you're asking what they need, right? You're not pretending that you know what they need, right? Even though there are parts of you, right, that are shifting, your mentality, your vibrations think differently, right? In some kind of way, right? So at this moment right now, what do I need, right? Or before I came into doing this podcast, well, I needed to sit. I needed to sit and to listen to every single part of me that was talking, and to cry, let it out, and just express and know what's happening in my field so I could hold space for them, right? And I let him speak, right? And I let him be angry, frustrated, and annoyed, and really hurt. And yeah, so that's what I needed, right? What this Rukmani needed at this moment in time in 2024. Yeah. What did the teenager need? She just needed to like blow some steam, you know? And to express her emotions in a way that she hadn't been able to express, and cry the shit out. What did the kid needed? She needed to be held. She needed to be held because she was scared, and just feel safe. Feel safe and a stuffy, you know? And pet her puppy. My nose is a little dry, you guys. That's why I keep doing that in the video. Um, what about the young adult? I mean, the young adult was still suffering, but understanding in a way, like her experience. But she still needed to speak, right? And what about the adult self? The adult self was like, well, shit. If they or who, whatever, or me had asked myself or asked me, what do I need? Things would have been so much easier and so much different because then all these things wouldn't have happened. But so then I'm like, what do you need? I just need to be here with you. Cool. Simple. See? So as we go through this death process, right? And maybe that seems scary to you. Maybe it's like, oh shit, I don't want to die, right? But it's pretty interesting that we call it the death process because we're not dying. We're not dying. Your energies don't die, they just shift. So by me holding space in the way that they needed to be held, to feel loved and understood, and that somebody does care, right? In the way that they can't see it. Now they're shifting. They're no longer in the space of like, I feel unsafe. I need mom to hold me and watch cartoons and chocolate milk and my puppy, right? They're like, oh, okay, that just went away. I feel good now. Yay. Okay, I'm done cuddling. Okay, I'm gonna go play outside. Right? That doesn't mean that she died. She just got what she needed at the moment that she needed. And then she felt okay. Same thing with the teenager. She needed to speak some things out and cry it out and whatever else. Yeah. And she did. And then she felt much better. And then her throat was like, oh, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. It just felt like so constrained. And I just needed to say that. And it's like, oh, yes. All right, I'm good now. Thank you. Yeah. So it's like, and again, it's not like the teenager self died. She just changed because somebody gave her love. Somebody gave her the space that she needed to say what she needed to say, knowing that whoever was listening was not going to take this personally and just was going to be able to see her as she is, love her as she is, no matter what, not just by being quote unquote good, but by speaking her deep emotions of anger and frustration. She was still loved. And how did that shift? How did that shift make her feel, right? It's like, oh, I'm cool. You're cool. And I could speak these things. That's great. Okay. How is that going to change her life and her energies, right? Moving in through the young adult. The young adult is going to feel like, oh, great. I can speak too. And I can speak in depth about these things, and then this frustration, dang, like, okay. And I'm still like listening, like the whole space is unconditional love. The whole space is like, whatever it is that you need to say, great, say it. Because nothing's going to change the way that I feel for you, the way that I love you. So let me love you. Let me see you, right? And that could be very scary for any versions, right? Let me see you. But if you're holding the space, meaning if you are there with them with so much compassion and love, not trying to change them, not trying to give them an advice unless they have asked you for an advice. Yeah. Just there listening and seeing them and loving them. And then once in a while, maybe saying like, may I hug you? Or is there anything else that you need from me? That is what creates the change. That's what allows this whole rebirth process to be more easy, to be more gentle, to be more in the space of love. And this whole awakening process, that's what it is about. That's what it is about. Love. Love. You and love, you and your relationship with love, your younger selves in their relationship with love, right? And love is a really broad subject. Love includes the love to yourself, love includes the love to your parents, right? To your siblings, to your friends, to nature, to your puppies, best friends, the whole world, the collective, like, I mean, like everything, right? I mean, going into like political parties, you know what I mean? Like it's all around. It's all around. And it's the perspective that you have of love that allows you to see things as you see it, different than somebody else, right? But that doesn't mean that you don't feel the things, yeah? That doesn't mean that you don't feel annoyed and frustrated when somebody else does something wrong to somebody else that you love. No, no, right? Because again, it goes in the process of all these different parts of you and the different parts of the other person, right? And again, understanding as like this quote unquote higher vibration self, right? Understanding that like, well, this other person, that probably was done to him or her, and that's probably what he or she thinks about normality and what and how, you know, in their relationship with the inner world. Holy moly. I mean, not excuses, you know, but knowing some of those things because I lived them myself in my being, in my inner world, right? But of course, there's all these versions too, right? The teenagers like, fuck off, like, how dare you, right? And the child will be like, how does this actually happen in the world? You know, I mean, there's many layers of this, right? And the layer that means the most and has the most extraordinary meaning is the layer of your love and the relationship with love, with your own love, right? Because you get to experience your love and your love for others depending on your own love. So if you're able to sit and listen to every single part of yourself that is just going through a massive shift with you, and be with them as they need you, not as you think they need you, then this passing of the threshold, instead of being like, oh, fuck, it's like, oh, God, it's so scary. It's like, I don't want to. Like, I can see the light at the end of the tunnel, but it's just like a little too much going on. It's going to be like holding hands. We're all holding hands and skipping around and going for it. Yeah, because we all understand each other. We all know how to speak to each other. We all know how to listen to each other. You know what I mean? Like, can you think, can we just sit with this for a second? Just sit with this for a second, right? Passing the threshold will be way easier if you know how to be with yourself in the way that you need it and be with all the different versions of yourself in the way that they need it. So then it's not you as the quote unquote again higher vibrational self only pulling them to pass this freaking threshold because you're like, dude, can you just come on? I just want to cross this thing because obviously I know there are like higher vibrations over there and I'm going to fly higher. But how are you going to fly when they don't want to fly? You know, they don't want to fly. They're like so freaking scared. Like, are you serious right now? No, you're just pulling me and you're telling me that's like something so great, but you're just pulling me and you're not listening to what I have to say. You're not listening to my feelings. And how do I get to trust that this is something really good if you're just pulling me, you're not listening to me? Simple, right? Super freaking valid. Yes. And so because you're pulling, you're making yourself even heavier. So how can you fly? You need to be lighter to pass this threshold and fly. And in order to be lighter, you need them all to be on your side, right? To feel safe, to know that this is a really great thing. But if they're super scared and you're not listening, I mean, how will they just fly with you? You can try to give them some candy, but they will still be afraid. They'll still be afraid. So maybe it's not the only way, but one of the ways to do that is to listen to them and to give them what they need, what they need. So there, at this moment in time, going back to my experience, right? They're all set. They all spoke what they need to speak, what they needed to speak, and be heard and seen and cry and laugh and all these things. And I just listened and I gave them the support and I held them and anything else that they asked for it. So in my field, we're all feeling pretty good. Which, what does that mean? That means that the resistance that I felt maybe a couple hours ago is no longer there because I was able to understand where the resistance was coming from. And the resistance was that some of the versions of myself needed to speak up, needed to be held, you know? So then I did that. And now we're all holding hands and we're super ready to pass this threshold and take flight, right? And now we know this is going to be fun. Now we know it's going to be fun. We're not pulling anybody. We're all wanting to go. We're like, you're saying flight? Yes, let's get those wings on. Let's spread this wing and like take flight right now, right? And I have all these versions of myself. They're like, oh my gosh, are we going to be like a unicorn? Do we have our horn and our wings? And we're going to look so pretty. And the teenager self is like, oh my gosh, do I get to like play some music and like and also dance while I'm flying? And an adult, the young adult is like, this is cool. All right, let's get all in line and let's have this band going on. And then adult self is like, yes. Yes, we're doing this. Cool. All right, you got your thing going on. Everybody's set. Yeah, yeah, like the mother self, Good. You got it. You got it. You got it too. Cool. I got it. I think I got it. Cool. All right. Are you ready? Like telling me, I'm like, yes, I'm being ready. Can we do this thing now? Cool. We're all good. Do we need anything else? Yeah, check, 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 check. Yeah, great. Okay, cool. Let's go. So that's how it feels like. If you had seen me before, that's definitely how I look like at all right? I was coming home from teaching yoga and I was feeling this deep sadness and as if like, oh, it should have been different. It should have been different. And okay, when the should have comes, right? I'm like, all right, there's something coming up. What's up? What's up? And I just let it build up rather than pushing it, right? Like I was saying before, I used to be like, all right, I'm feeling this, I'm sitting with this, we're going deep, and we're just doing it right there, right? Instead of give myself their space to speak. So I had lunch and I was like, yeah, that's definitely building up. I feel it. It's like, oh, I have this memory pop up. Great. That's a fun memory. No, it's not a fun memory. Oh, I totally understand now why I didn't look. I didn't like to do that. Yeah. What else? Oh my gosh. All right, now I need to sit. Ooh, I need to sit, I need to listen, I need to cry, I need to write. Okay, I need to pet my puppy. Yeah, all right. I gotta like message my boyfriend. Yes, okay, cool, cool. What else do I need to do? Scream? Yes, let's scream and cry. Like, like it was not pretty. That's what I'm getting to. It's not pretty. And it's not pretty. There's parts of awakening, that the most people don't see, right? Because it's not like we have cameras set up around when you're like, oh shit, I'm going to a deep process, turn the camera on, record it, right? Like, I mean, I had moments when I had a process and like there's this energy, it's like, you must record this. And like, okay. But that's not like the first thing in my head. First thing in my head is like, all right, how do I get to hold space for all of me? Yeah, what do they need? What do I need to feel good and safe right now to let this process unfold, right? Yeah, it's not pretty. It's not pretty. But it's not gonna be pretty. It's not gonna be pretty. It's gonna be very messy and uncomfortably messy at times. But the degree of uncomfortability and messiness right, is related to the degree of you listening to yourselves and holding space for them. And again, I'm referring like holding space, meaning being with the person, right? Or with this part of yourself, being with them and providing what they need, right? Even if they don't know what they need, you're just there witnessing, right? You're not trying to change anything, right? That's not how healing works. That's not how healing works, which I find it kind of interesting that it's like healer. It's like, I mean, sure, some people see me as a healer. I'm here loving you. I'm here like giving you the space and witnessing and giving you the love that you need to feel in order to feel safe so your energies can do this whole process in your own world, you know? So again, the degree of uncomfortability and messiness is related to the degree that you have to be with every part of yourself. And now if you're very good at that and you feel it, right? And the moment that you feel it, it's like, ooh, okay. Okay, what do I need? What do my beings need? Right? And if you maybe at this moment it's a little challenging to like tap into all these things that I just talked about, right? Like how do I know that my kid self needs this, right? I mean, I know because I've been doing this for years. And I know because I can see her, right? That's one of the things that happened through my spiritual awakening. And it happened, yeah, but then I had to practice it too, right? I had to like sit and be quiet and listen and to see like what part of myself was speaking, what version of myself, right? So it took practice, right? Those like almost 2.5 years of isolation to just listen to me and go inwards, okay? So it's a practice. If you don't have it figured out right now yet, that doesn't mean that you're not going to be able to. But you got to try it out and you got to be with yourself, right? Even when it feels like I feel like I'm freaking exploding right now and I'm being pulled in different directions all at the same time, like Tupac Amaru. If you have no idea who Tupac Amaru is, it's an Inca, and he was roped. That's the word they use, right? Like he had ropes in his wrists and his ankles, and every rope one was attached to a horse, and then the horses run in every direction. So that's what I'm referring to. So and that's what it is, you know. At times we feel pulled. You're being stripped down, right? And imagine if this is how you feel, how does this child self feel if she's being pulled in every single direction, right? How scary can that be felt for a child? I mean, I think it would be really freaking scary if all of a sudden I'm like 4 or 5 years old and then I feel like it's like, oh my gosh, like what? Like mom, like where are you? Like I don't know what's happening, you know, and like freak out, literally, right? So think about those things, right? If you're experiencing something really intensely as the highest vibrational version of yourself, right? What about the other ones? Oh my goodness, they must be so scared, right? So if you know that doing something is going to help you, right? Which of course it will help them, right? But then you can open up this conversation to your inner child and be like, what do you need, right? Like, I feel really scared. How do you feel right now? Like, should we put some cartoons on, or do you want a stuffy? You know, like, do you need the pet? Should we go out for a walk? You know, I was gonna say ice cream, but I don't know if you want to go there. But I hope you're understanding what I mean. Yeah. It's a practice. This is about talking it to yourself and going inwards. And sure, I mean, trust me that it felt so scary for me to do that because, and I'm going to tell you something, my North Node is in Taurus. And that's about slowing down, not going super fast, slowing down, being with yourself, being in the present moment, grounding, and finding discipline, right? That was so freaking hard to do. So hard to do. And even before I knew that my North Node was in Taurus, before I even knew what astrology was or that it existed, you know, it was so hard. But I knew. you know? Something in me was like, I gotta sit with this. This is so uncomfortable and scary. And I've shared this before, but I'm gonna share again. There was this moment that I had where I couldn't get in touch with one of my best friends at the time. And I was freaking out, like freaking out to the point that I was driving and I was shaking. And I got home and I was like, I'm gonna sit. I'm gonna sit and try to meditate. And this is when I was like getting into a meditation practice, you know? But if you have ever been super anxious and shaking and it's just like your energy's all over the place, how do you get to sit through that? I didn't care. I didn't care. All I asked was like, I want some clarity. That's all. Give me some clarity. Let me feel it. And I sat on my yoga block for 2.5 hours. I'm not joking. 2.5 hours. The first hour and a half was fucking horrible. It was horrible. I was like, what am I doing here? I can't even be still. Like my energies. I'm like, oh my God, I can't even breathe. This is too much. Like everywhere, right? And of course, I had this like very relaxing music in the background. And then all of a sudden, because I was like, I am not getting out. I'm not getting up from this yoga block situation. I'm gonna be here. Like, do you get it? I'm gonna be here until I feel better and until I have some clarity. And eventually I did. Yeah. I had to go through this like hour and a half of like intensity to find the stillness and the relief, which is a practice, right? Most people maybe won't do that. But I have this thing that when I go for it, I go for it. And if it's challenging, I don't care. I'm gonna go for it. Yeah, because I'm into it. So let me figure this whole thing out. And so this is how it started. This is how it started. And then I realized, okay, well, I don't have to wait till I'm like super anxious and my body's shaking to be in stillness and meditate. I can do this every day, just relaxing when I'm in a more relaxed state and figure this out. Yeah. So it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy at all, especially from somebody that suffered deeply from depression, from anxiety. I mean, I'm not gonna get into the whole list, yeah, but you get it. It wasn't easy. It wasn't easy. But now, if I'm not in stillness, I mean, I don't go a day without stillness, yeah? In many ways, in many ways, yeah? The first thing that I do when I wake up in the morning is meditate. I do Kundalini yoga. Throughout the day, I I relax. Throughout the day, I breathe. I breathe, I decompress, I come back to myself over and over again. When I'm working through something or working on something, and I'm going to move into something else, I take that space of integration and I breathe and I'm with myself in stillness to move into the next thing that I'm doing. So I'm saying this because you can do it, because it just takes discipline, right? And maybe your North Node is not in Taurus, and maybe discipline is still challenging for you. That's okay, right? But you get to choose how challenging it could be or how long this challenge will be. And you also get to choose today is a day that I'm going to go, in a way, for lack of better words, against this challenge. And I'm going to sit. And I'm going to sit. No matter what, I'm going to sit. The whole world is collapsing. I'm going to sit for my 5 minutes or whatever. And I'm going to do this every single day, even if shit is happening around me. I'm going to do this for 5 minutes a day and see what happens, right? And then you build it up. You build it up because it's like any practice. At the beginning, it's going to be pretty horrible. Not gonna lie. Just like the first time that I took a yoga class, it's like, not again. No, I don't want to do that. Are you serious? Literally, that's what I told myself. And look at me now. I practice yoga 6 times a week and I teach hot yoga, you know? And so it's like, no, I do that because I love it, because it helps me to also come back to myself, even though we're moving. There's spaces in between when you're in pause, in stillness, and you're in it. Yeah, this is what I mean. The pause, the stillness, the breathing, coming back to you. So then you can help them to come back to you. And also, Instead of pulling them, you can all hold hands, skip around, and jump and fly off after you pass the threshold. And then, so this death process, it's not like, oh, this death process is like, yeah, sure, it's sucky. I feel it. I definitely feel it. But also, I know that I can do this. And I can do it with all of them too. We can do this together. And we don't need to be in the suffering stage for so long. As long as we all understand each other and we're in agreement and we're okay and we're all ready to go hiking, yeah, we're all prepared. Great. Great. So, if I may give you something, see the shifts in your awakening process as a as one of the greatest opportunities to get to know yourself, because that's where we do it. And again, I don't know why my nose is so itchy. Excuse me, guys. I'm human. It is, right? It's a great opportunity to get to know yourself. Such a great opportunity to get to know yourself. And we get to know ourselves when we get to know them too. Every single version, right? When the awareness hits, be like, oh, I'm feeling annoyed. And instead of throwing that to somebody else, you're like, why am I feeling annoyed? That was pretty cool a couple minutes ago. Oh, child self. What's happening? Oh, teenager too? You adult? Adult? All right, let's do this. And it becomes easier and easier and easier. And it's actually such a beautiful practice, of course, like I was saying, of awareness, but a practice of holding space, right? And this is going to be a different thing. I think a different podcast episode, because you get to do this for yourself and you get to learn how to do that for others. And of course, it grows, right? It shifts, just like your own awakening and your own life, right? We're in constant shift, constantly growing. I don't like to use the word getting older, right? We're constantly growing. And if that's what you want to do, right? What a better way to do things, for lack of better words, correctly, when you do it to yourself, right? Instead of going out and trying to figure out and doing it for others when maybe you are the one that needs it the most. So instead of being the wounded healer and trying to heal all of everybody else, how about you take all those energies that you're putting out and bring them and face them towards you? So then you can be like, what do I need? What does every version of me need? And you can give them the love that they need so you can go through this process, whatever stage you are in, and take flight, rather than spending so much energy about healing everybody else. Yeah? Because again, going back to the word, you're not healing anybody else, right? Nobody needs healing. What we need is a safe space. What we need is a deep, loving space to know that we're loved, to know that we're seen, to know that everything about us is loved, even the ways that we say things, right? When we're pissed, when we're frustrated, when we're sad, like all that funkiness, right? That is welcome, that is seen, that is loved too, right? We need a loving space to let all these things unfold within us. We don't need a freaking healer. We don't need somebody else to come in and be like, hey, I can heal your shit, right? Like, excuse me. No, no. We don't need that. Nobody else gets to heal us because we don't need to be healed. What we need is to be loved, to be accepted, to be seen. in our entirely, like our whole beings again. Like I was saying, like not only when we're pretty and nice and happy, but when we are going through deep shit, yeah? Especially in those moments, that's what we need. That's what you need, that's what I need, that's what we all need. Not somebody else to be like, hey, I'm a healer and I'm gonna fix your shit. No, no, it's not, that's not how it is. That's not how it is, yeah? So give yourself that loving space that you already have, that you know how to tap in, because if you've been doing it out for others, yeah, that means that you can do it for yourself, right? And not in this thing like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna heal whatever. No, the part of you just needs to speak, but it couldn't speak. It just needs to let things out that when she or he didn't have a voice, yeah? She needs to like dance like she wanted to do when she was a young adult or a teenager and she was not allowed to. Or she needs to scream because she's so frustrated and she was told not to scream. That's what you need, a space for you to let yourself do that. You don't need to heal yourself. Your being doesn't need to be healed. Even when we go all the way back to ancestral trauma, right? Even though it's called ancestral healing, we're witnessing, we're loving, we're accepting. That's where it is. Acceptance, love, forgiveness, love again. In a space where it's so deeply into this energies of unconditional love that things shift. And that's what we call healing. Witnessing. You get to witness yourself through this transformation. You, in any space, in any space. So give yourself permission to turn the energies towards you, right? To turn all the awareness and the eyes and all these energies that you're like throwing out, like, oh, this person needs healing, this person needs my help. Like, what about me? I need help too, right? I need to be seen too. I need to be held too. Okay. Like bring that in and concentrate in you. You do this to you do that to everybody else without even saying like I'm gonna heal you or I'm gonna hold space for you. No, because we are all connected. You do it to you, you're doing to the collective. And that's what this world needs. It all starts with us individually as this amazing personal universe. And then this personal universe that is connected to every other personal universe that creates the universe of the earth. That's the power that this universe, this personal universe, begins to accept and see herself as she is, begins to love herself as she is. In every part of her, every part of her past, her present, the immediate future, whatever future she envisions, and also like her ancestry, right? And because she's so in it and she loves it all, no matter what happened, the activations that go to other personal universes begin to be ignited with love. And now they feel safe to feel. And now everybody else on this side feels safe to feel. Like, it's like, oh, I think I'm ready too. Thank you so much. And then they begin to do that, and it becomes a domino effect, right? Even if you will never see them in person, will know their names, know who they are, that doesn't matter. What matters is that because you are doing you in your own energies, they get to do that too. And collectively, we all get to do that. Would you imagine how different this world will be like if we all did that, right? Instead of like being like, I'm gonna heal you. Hey, you need to be healed. Listen, no, you have so much anger issues, yeah? So I'm gonna refer you to this healer because she's gonna heal you, right? And it's like the other person will be like, what the fuck, excuse me? No. Mm-mm, mm-mm. You're not gonna tell me what I need to do, right? This is where it all starts, right? Trust me, I've been there. Where it all starts, right? Like, what do you tell me what to do? What? Because going back, you know what to do for yourself. You know. Yeah. You just gotta remember your intuitive nature through this whole process of awakening and sitting and breathing and moving, whatever it is, the practices that you do that you like to do, or that you're trying out to figure out which one you like and which one you resonate with. Yeah. It's simple. It's simple. We don't need anybody else to tell us what to do, right? And this is also one of the things about holding space. Like, you don't throw your opinions on somebody else, right? At the beginning, you might, and I did. Trust me, I did. I was figuring out how to hold space for myself and others, right? But then that's not on us. That's not on us to give opinions, to give advices, unless they want it, right? Because if somebody's trying to figure out what's happening in themselves and what to do, right? If all these opinions come in her or his field, the person's gonna be feel overwhelmed. It's like, oh shit, like, I don't know, I kind of feel this, but this person said that, and then this person said that, and another person said that. I'm like, oh my gosh, like maybe what I'm actually feeling is not the right thing to do. It's like unnecessary tension because others don't know how to keep their mouth shut, because others don't know how to properly hold space for you or them or whatever, right? Which is, it's okay. Like I said, it's okay. I've been through that. Perhaps that's a stage of this awakening process as well, and a stage of figuring out how to hold space. Yeah. But what we do in these things is we witness. We don't give you things. Yeah. We can give you love and hugs if you like them, right? And hold you as you cry. Sure. Yes, yes. I'll give you that. I'll give you that. But in words, the words that I can tell you at this moment in time is I love you. And I see you. And I see you, you know? I see you so much. And I honor the space that you're in and the power that is coming through you, as you are honoring your own emotions. I'm not going to give you my opinions because I don't know exactly what's happening in your personal universe unless you tell me, and maybe you don't even know what's happening in your personal universe. So, how could I interfere in that beautiful process of yours? No, I'm going to be here and I'm going to be witnessing you and loving you as however it comes out to be. And then, if there's a moment when you ask me my opinion, then I will say it. Or if there's a moment when I feel like, may I give you some feedback, you know? And if you say yes, cool. If you say no, that's cool too. That's cool too, because you get to choose. Yeah? You get to choose. And that's the beautiful thing. Again, you get to choose if you pull all your cells with you or if you join hands and skip around and jump over the cross threshold. It's very simple, you guys. It's very simple. Somehow, as humans, again, we like to make things complicated. And trust me again, I'm human, right? At times I do complicate myself too, but then I go back to the simplicity of things. Hmm, it could be simple. Let me let it be simple. Yeah. Wow. Ooh, I had no idea that was gonna come out. I just felt like before I sat with my process, I was like, wow, I think I need to do a podcast. I feel it. And then the emotions came through, and I'm like, nope, I don't need to do a podcast right now. I'm gonna sit with myself and figure this out and be with myself. And then afterwards, it's like, do I want to do a podcast right now? Yeah, I do. Okay, let's go do a podcast. So maybe you saw the beginning, maybe not. Maybe my eyes were still puffy from crying. Who knows, you know? But this is the beauty of things, you know, when we get to be authentic in our own energies, whatever the energies are at the moment. Yeah. I wasn't so happy and like, yay, at the moment. I was still, being with it in some kind of shape or form. And now I feel great. Even greater. So yeah, I hope that this really served you well, and I hope that you can take something from this for your own experience, right? Because it's something that happens again constantly. It's not like great awakening, woohoo, and it's just like just one process. It's like multiple processes and little processes here and there, and they just come through and they merge and they weave and they do whatever it is they do, yeah, and that's okay, and that's okay. However, when we have tools to help us through this experience of awakening, that it can become a little bit easier, and it can become something more gentle that rather than something that is like suffocating. And at the same time, you're still gonna feel it, right? Just like I did. I went and cry and scream a little and pet my puppy and just like, right? And then it's like, okay, we're cool now. Hmm? So the worst thing when I come through is like, be cool. You're already cool. So I don't need to say that, even though I just said it. Hmm. Thank you. Thank you. And know that what's happening right now, if something is happening, deeply happening, it's because you got it. It's because you got it. It's because deep inside your own energies and the energies of every single version, they knew, they know that they're ready for a change. Even though it might feel scary, even though it's like, can I do this? You can do this because it's happening. If it weren't happening, then that means that you were not ready. Yeah. But because it's happening, that means that you are ready and that you got it and that you will do it. Right. You get to choose how long, again, the suffering, quote unquote, right? Sounds kind of ugly saying that, but it's true. How long the suffering will be. Yeah. And how much you get to soften and listen to every parts of you. So then, again, you can hold hands, skip, and pass the threshold and take flight, however it is that you want to take flight. Whether you want to be a unicorn, a butterfly, all of them, a dragon, all of them at the same time, a magician. Mm. Gracias. Mm. Yeah, that feels good. Very good. Yeah. Feel free to comment if something really served you very well. Or email me at info@rukmanikaur.com. I read every single email, even if I don't reply. I take my time as much as I can to reply and share it. This is one of the reasons why this podcast is alive, why the energies of this podcast is alive, to be shared, right? That's how we started. We share the wisdom. We share others' wisdoms because we are in it together. And the more that we know that, the more that we hear it, the more that we feel it, the more that we believe it. Mm. I love you. I'll see you next time. Chappies.